Hello, welcome to our channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. It's Saturday. We're doing a special broadcast. This video may be pulled. Videos that discuss what we're about to talk about have been pulled. So hang on. Smartest audience in the world. Supreme Court makes hidden decision as U.S. banks lose trillions by shorting silver. This is going to be a fast and furiously paced video, so hang on. First of all, a little note from the people we love. Get the tea. Whether they put money in our nonprofit, we don't care. Jane's been using the ASTRAXANTHIN. Her pain is going away. Only available at Get the Tea, this real ASTRAXANTHIN. So it's some kind of a dye that's in salmon, and I don't know how they extract it, but her pain's going away. I like the salmon oil, but I'm going to start ASTRAXANTHIN now because, remember, I don't have a backbone. So this is only available at Get the Tea, 928-308-0408. Their ASTRAXANTHIN works. A lot of these herbs, they don't work really well. But I know their ASTRAXANTHIN work because Jane came to me yesterday. She said she's been using it for about a month. No, actually about 2 weeks. She says her eyes are getting better and her pain is gone. Only available at Get the Tea. Anyway, a huge Supreme Court ruling. Huge. This has been blacked out all across the internet. And I found it on Justice something or other. Anyway, it was even blocked out on the SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States blog. So I had to confirm this. Sorry, they're still spraying us to kill us. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that lower courts cannot make nationwide injunctions. So some rogue Obama judge, who isn't even a U.S. citizen, who's committing fraud, Somali fraud, rules that Trump can't send illegal aliens home. The Supreme Court said you're full of it. So the United States corporate Supreme Court, which is underground because they haven't occupied the building for 6 years, there have been no lights on in the Supreme Court. There have been no lights on in Congress. So the Supreme Court has clearly ruled that only the Supreme Court can affect presidential orders. So if the president signs an order and says this is what's going to happen, here it is, the lower courts can't set an injunction against it. But they're going to try. They should be arrested for treason or in the least bit thrown out of judicial office, but they're not being thrown out. So we're going to see what happens. Number two, there's a partial government shutdown. We don't know what the partial is. We know that there's nobody in Congress. The people speaking in front of Congress with the clipboard, there's nobody behind them. They're speaking to empty congressional district. There's nobody in Congress because when the camera sweeps, this is probably what they're going to have. As you see, I can't post my own pictures. Zig Heil because of the FBI. So, all hail your masters. So the bottom line is, the Supreme Court made a ruling. Boy, I'm getting totally sidetracked. Now, the Supreme Court is about to make, there's a partial government shutdown. It's going to last for 2 weeks, and Chucky Schumer will be in the news again. And it seems political, doesn't it? They don't have the money, and they're shutting down departments we don't even know about. There's over 1,000 agencies and departments. We don't even know what they do. So, and then the weather, you're going to get blasted by the U.S. Air Force, who claims that there is no natural weather, and they control the weather patterns around the world, so they're going to blast you with another winter storm. There are still millions of people without power from the ice storm, and they're going to blast us with another storm. Go Air Force! And then there's another decision coming up really quickly. It has to do with the 14th Amendment. It was passed in 1866, the year after the Civil War. Tennessee was not admitted into the Union until 1866. Whether they voted on that, it was a rump legislative body, which means the southern states weren't readmitted into the states, yet we were still under the original 1789 Constitution, and all states must be present for a vote, but the southern states were not available for the vote. So the 14th Amendment, granting citizenship if you're born in the United States, that may be illegal. Now, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court is the real Supreme Court for the United States Republic. That's why it's so important that the libtards put human sacrificing Satanists in the Pennsylvania Supreme Court to rule against humanity. That's why we have libtard governors, libtard judges in Pennsylvania. But the United States corporate Supreme Court, located underground, not in their Supreme Court headquarters, because you can go to Nancy Drew You can go to live cameras. There's nobody there. There hasn't been anybody for 6 years in the Supreme Court. It's all a facade. Congressman blah, blah, blah said, well, then why does it say Miss Smith, not Congressman Smith? Yeah, get a clue. So they're lying to you. So the Supreme Court's about to rule on birth citizenship. When you come across the border and you claim your child was born in the United States, are they a citizen? Well, according to the Constitution, the 14th Amendment was never correctly ratified, so it's not valid. So we can question the debt of the United States Corporation, which belongs to the United States Corporation, not the people of the United States. So the people of the United States Corporation owe the debt of the United States Corporation, not you and I. We're citizens, but they charge us illegally. Why? Sieg Heil, because they have a police force called the SS, Sieg Heil, which we call the Gestapo, whatever, it's the FBI. Actually, the head of the SS was the FBI director. Comey, his daddy, ran the SS, and Rosenstein ran the Gestapo. Rosenstein is in the Department of Justice, assistant director. His daddy ran the Gestapo during the Holocaust, and Comey's daddy ran the SS during the Holocaust. They killed 6 million people, and now they're running departments as the SS and as the Gestapo, killing Americans and censoring them. So they're going to make a ruling on that real soon. Tough decision. And finally, J.P. Morgan bought $10 billion worth of exchangeable tradable funds. We don't know what's in the exchangeable tradable funds. I'm guessing it's silver and gold certificates, which are worth zero. But way back in the 1st of November, when silver was at $50, they started shorting silver, thinking it was going down. Now, in the stock market, you can long and short. So say a stock is worth $100. You say in 3 months it's going to be worth $110. Or in 3 months it's going to be worth $90. Well, they all bought all of the major banks, there's about 20 of them worldwide, all of them bought exchangeable tradable funds. This big gambling racket. Should be illegal. It is illegal under federal law, but under corporate law, they turn the other cheek and say, la, 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 because they don't care if people lie, cheat, rob, and steal. Lie, cheat, murder, and steal. So what happened was they shorted it, and most shorts are 1 to 3 months. Well, it's been 3 months. And in January, the military said, we can't build our bombs or missiles because we don't have enough silver. So silver's gone through the roof, logically, 100, 115, 122. And J.P. Morgan shorts silver and was forced to sell these exchangeable tradable funds. Well, they didn't buy these $4 billion on a 1-to-1 basis. They bought them on a 100-to-1 margin. J.P. Morgan lost $400 billion, but it was insured by you and I, the public. So guess what? We now owe $400 billion. So J.P. Morgan lost $400 billion, so silver went from 122 to 85. Now, the bloodletting's not over yet, because we're talking one bank shorting $4 trillion. They have $10 trillion they bought in October to short it 1 November, thinking we're going to cut a fat hog. Silver's gone up to 50. Well, it's going to go back to 40, 45. We're going to short it all. Well, if you buy a 3-month, say you have $1 billion, and you buy at 100-to-1 margin, so you have $100 billion invested. See, they did this to my father. Merrill Lynch did without his permission and screwed him out of $275,000. If I'd have known what had happened, I'd have gone on a rampage. But I didn't know what had happened. He just said I lost $275,000 during the first oil crisis. Bammo, gone. Merrill Lynch screwed him, invested on margin in Chrysler. It plummeted. He lost everything. He never gave him permission to do that. But when you put your money with a brokerage, you lose control of your money. But if you buy the stocks or bonds, you still lose control because they don't have to cash them in. We have Standard Oil shares from 1910, $110 worth. They won't cash in. It's worth millions now. They refuse to cash in. It's too old. Russia doesn't want to cash in a bond to a Russian citizen. They're not meant to cash in. They're meant to be stolen by the broker. You have $1 billion, $2 billion. You've sworn loyalty to Lucifer. You got one choice: turn back to Yeshua, but they'll take everything you own. So you have luxury on earth and hell for eternity, or hell on earth and luxury in heaven. It's your choice. I don't really give a dang. Bottom line is, Morgan Stanley shorted $4 trillion, and I think they've shorted the other $6 trillion. So their losses will be J.P. Morgan Stanley Chase, which took 120 tons of gold from Russia and never returned it. They still owe Russia 120 tons of gold. I don't forget. They got screwed. They lost $400 billion, and they're about to lose another $600 billion. Now multiply that by 20 banks worldwide. They didn't lose $4 billion. They lost $400 billion, and they're about to lose $600 billion more. Now, they insure their shorts, which means the public has to pay for it. Now, these shorts they're doing are out of your pension funds, which is guaranteed by the Pension Guarantee Fund, which means we, the public, have to now pay the pension funds because they're broke. Because you idiots in the pension funds put money in with J.P. Morgan or Morgan Stanley or Wells Fargo or Bank of America and lost control, and you're losing hundreds of billions of dollars out of the pension funds right now. These are morons. Big Las Vegas gambling scheme. So, when all is said and done, if Morgan Stanley has lost $400 billion and they're looking at losing $1 trillion, $4 billion in ETF funds, 100% margin on short, they lose $400 billion. They've got another $6 billion at 100% margin. They're going to lose $600 billion. That's $1 trillion. Now multiply that by 20 major banks, $1 trillion. It's a $20 trillion loss because silver went down. And they found out that they can't get their silver in December. It ain't there. They haven't harvested enough. And the mines we have in America, they've been dumping toxic waste down under Biden and Obama. And yes, under Trump as well. But Trump, and we've been talking about this for how long? 5, 6 years? So Trump should have known that we're dumping toxic waste down our silver and gold mines. So the old silver mines, the old gold mines are unharvestable. So we have to open new mines. That's why Trump is scrambling to do that Alaskan highway, to go into Alaska and open a copper mine, because one of the side effects is silver. Because the old mines are untouchable. So when 20 banks lose $20 trillion, silver goes from 122 to 85. But what's going to happen after all the short losses are taken? Boomerang effect, I think. I don't know. It's affecting the dollar and the trade worldwide. The Western banks just screwed themselves, but that's okay. If they have an account with $10 in it, they can add 10 zeros to it, 20 zeros, 30 zeros. Benjamin Fulford said he was offered as much money as he could spend. He said he got as many zeros behind it, and I was offered that to join some of these satanic cults. I was offered a brigade by the 3 of the 161 if I joined their satanic cult and sacrificed humans. I'm an ambassador. I have a foreign embassy over in Kiev. You screwed me. You broke Satan's law. Your system's coming down. I'm smiling because I know exactly what's going to happen. Because God showed me the future last night. Like he did before the Marine One went down. Before Air Force One went down. He shows me some things. Limited amount. I'm not a prophet. I'm not a nothing. I'm just a guy on YouTube trying to save American lives and stop this march towards nuclear conflagration. So what's going to happen? I tell you what's going to happen. These banks are in big trouble. They probably fired 2 or 3 people. But God ain't done with them yet. Imagine that. 20 major banks can lose $20 trillion just like that. Because they shorted silver at 100 to 1, which should be illegal. But they shorted silver with 101 margin. This is revenge for what they've done to you and I. So anyway, and your fathers and your grandfathers, like what they did to my father. They're not going to pay us back. God's going to deal with them now. But we're going to see silver and gold do some really funny things. So hang in there. I'm still buying silver as much as I can. And it's so bad that they closed the silver market down this weekend. It doesn't close on the weekends, but it's closed. Because this is the beginning of the short breaking. Holter on Greg Hunter, Bill Holter talked about this. And it's happening just like Bill Holter says. Just like the people at Noble Gold saw it coming. Just like we saw it coming. They shorted silver. They did something really stupid and they got caught with their pants down. Because after 90 days, then you pay more on the short, more on the short, more on the short. And they can't afford to pay any more on the short. So they're scrambling to find accounts they can add zeros to. Which is going to cause hyperinflation. The system's breaking down. Anyway, God bless. Thank you very much. We appreciate each and every one of you. I still think, in my heart of hearts, that silver and gold is the only way to go because the FBI has no way of stealing it. And the United States Corporation is a corporation and everybody knows it. And they can't walk into your house and steal from you because everybody knows they're a corporation now. And they have no authority. They're going to claim the silver you bought wasn't yours. Kiss my royal rear and bring me back my freedom, and don't you dare stamp me with your mark of the beast. God bless. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow.